Chapter 13:17. It's true that I have offended the sky pride of the celestial divine sect, but that sky pride has been defeated by me. I have also joined another major sect in Yuanlu, the Divine Dragon Valley. Lu Ming said. Indeed. Xiao Wan's eyes shone brightly. General Lu has joined a major sect in Yuanlu. The hearts of many other experts trembled as their eyes shone brightly. General Lu's talent is unparalleled. Someone roared again, extremely agitated. This time, they were more sincere and respectful than before. Previously, it was because of Lu Ming's strength. This time, it was because of Lu Ming's identity. Lu Ming had joined a major sect in Yuanlu, and was now a disciple of the sect. His identity had become superior in the eyes of the crowd, even surpassing Xiao Wan. All right, Lu Ming gestured with one hand, and the crowd quieted down. We'll talk about the details later. Now, we'll follow the original plan, and head to the World Academy, to rescue the World Academy. Lu Ming said. No, General Lu. If you want to go, we'll go with you. It's too dangerous for you to go alone. The barbaric emperor said. Yeah, we'll go with you. Yan Kuangtu said. No need. You guys stay here. I know what I'm doing. I won't put myself in danger. After Lu Ming finished speaking, he did not say anything else. He drew a line in the air with both hands, and the air cracked open. Lu Ming stepped into the crack and disappeared. Even after Lu Ming disappeared, everyone's agitated emotions had not calmed down. It was mainly because of the shock caused by Lu Ming. It was too shocking. When Lu Ming went to the world of divine ruins, Lu Ming's cultivation base was only at a very low level. Now he was able to suppress an emperor. His improvement was too shocking. No, we can't let Lu Ming take the risk alone. Emperor Yuexin, Emperor Tianfeng, you guys guard this place. Mo Yi, barbaric emperor, follow me and head to the World Academy secretly. If Lu Ming is in danger, we'll help him. Xiao Wan ordered. I'll go too. Demon ancestor, I'll go too. Yan Kuangtu and Chu Luo stepped out. Although Chu Luo was injured by Lu Ming, his origin was not damaged. At this moment, his spirit body was recovering quickly, half of Chu Luo's body that was damaged. Of course, this was because Lu Ming was being merciful. If his origin was injured, it would be impossible for him to recover so quickly. All right, let's go together. After saying that, Xiao Wan tore open space and brought a group of experts to head towards World Academy. The World Academy. The academy was a place. The White Emperor's white jade palace. Only white palace. Was palace. Was white. The white jade palace floated high up in the sky, emitting a blinding light. The white palace was White Emperor in the army. There were people from the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace, the Heavenly Corpse sect, and the Southern Ming Kingdom. There were also people from the other overlords of the Central Continent. Because they had pledged their allegiance to DE, they were also fighting for hegemony with him. Boom! At the top of the White Jade Palace, there were two stalwart figures. They were enveloped by endless divine light, and emitted a terrifying aura. It was the might of a sovereign. The two figures were emperors, and they were currently attacking the White Jade Palace. Inside the White Jade Palace, there were two white-haired old men, who also emitted the auras of rulers. They were working together to resist the attacks of the rulers outside. Attack together. This White Jade Palace won't last for long. In the crowd, there was a middle-aged man in a purple robe giving orders. If Lu Ming was here, he would definitely recognize that this person was Wang Xingtian, the head of the Wang clan, one of the 6 great ancient clans of the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. Now he was in high spirits. He was one of the first people to follow Martial Emperor De. He was De's trusted aide. Ever since Martial Emperor De revealed his true strength, he had been invincible. The older De Tian Divine Palace got, the stronger he became. However, the powerhouses who joined later on naturally did not have a higher status than him. Only the rulers had a higher status than him. Those supremes were lower than him. They had to curry favor with him and listen to his orders. Whoosh! 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 Countless attacks and beams of light shot towards the White Jade Palace from all directions. The White Jade Palace was completely submerged in the beams of light. Block! In the White Jade Palace, the disciples and elders of the World Academy roared. They cooperated with the White Jade Palace's array and attacked, doing their best to block. Rumble. However, there were too many attacks coming from the outside. The White Jade Palace rumbled and shook. If this continued, they would not be able to hold on for long. World Academy, I advise you to quickly surrender. Right now, His Majesty Martial Emperor De is the hero of 10,000 people. By the order of the heavens, he will unify the divine wilderness continent. If you stubbornly resist, you will be courting death. The Wang clan head's voice spread far and wide. Humph. De is ambitious. He wants to rule the divine desolate continent. Dream on. Our World Academy would rather die than surrender. Voices could be heard coming from the White Jade Palace. The Wang clan head's face sank. He snorted coldly and said, "You really don't know your limits. I already gave you a chance, but you don't know how to cherish it. In that case, die. Continue attacking." Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Thousands of attacks and beams of light flew towards the White Jade Palace. The intense battle continued. At this moment, 1,000 miles north of the World Academy, the space cracked and Lu Ming's figure stepped out. "Looks like I'm not too late." Lu Ming looked into the distance and muttered. He then took a step forward and headed towards the battlefield. 1,000 miles was crossed by Lu Ming in the blink of an eye. "Who is it? Stop right there." As soon as Lu Ming approached, he was discovered. A group of black-robed martial artists with sinister auras stared at Lu Ming. Na Ming's men. A cold light flashed in Lu Ming's eyes as he continued to move forward. Na Ming's men were easy to recognize. "Brat, stop. You're courting death." A third-level spirit god expert slashed at Lu Ming with his blade. Lu Ming stretched out a palm and clenched it in the air. A devouring force erupted from his palm. The third-level spirit god expert was enveloped by the devouring force. His body was fixed in the air and couldn't move at all. Then he was horrified to find that his essence blood, true yuan, and intent runes all flew out of his body and into Lu Ming's palm. Such a strange scene frightened him so much that he screamed. But every few breaths, his body shriveled up and lost all signs of life. What kind of evil technique is this? Let's attack together and kill this person. At the side, the others widened their eyes when they saw this scene. They then roared and charged at Lu Ming. "Devour!" Lu Ming muttered. An even stronger devouring force erupted and enveloped this group of people. This group of people turned into dried corpses and fell to the ground like raindrops. Enemy attack! Enemy attack! Horrified screams resounded. More people discovered Lu Ming and attacked Lu Ming. Chapter 13:18. Regardless of whether they were below the spiritual god realm or above, the outcome was the same. They were devoured and turned into dried corpses. Retreat, retreat. Call the experts over. The army was in chaos, and many people retreated in horror. The army was in chaos because of Lu Ming, and a gap appeared. "Who is so bold to attack my Emperor Heaven Divine Palace?" There was a loud shout, following which, figures flashed and more than 10 figures appeared in front of Lu Ming. What a coincidence! Lu Ming's lips curled up slightly. A few of them were Lu Ming's old acquaintances. The Wang family's patriarch, Wang Xingtian, the Jiang family's patriarch, and the Luan family's patriarch. 3 of the 6 ancient families' patriarchs of the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace had come. Behind the 3 patriarchs were a dozen people. 3 of them were supreme being experts, while the others were at the great circle of the spirit god realm. It's you, the patriarch of the Wang family, Jiang family, and the others were stunned when they saw Lu Ming. They stared at Lu Ming in disbelief. "Lu Ming, it's you. Didn't you die? You died in the hands of the celestial god sex genius in the continent of God?" After a long while, everyone recovered. The patriarch of the Wang family pointed at Lu Ming and shouted in disbelief. The news that the experts of the Southern God Palace had come to the divine wilderness continent and announced Lu Ming's death had spread throughout the divine wilderness continent. Almost all the powerful forces knew about it. Wang Xingtian and the others had thought that Lu Ming had died in the continent of God. Now that they saw him, they were naturally shocked. "How could I die when you're not dead?" Lu Ming smiled faintly. "So you're not dead. You're really lucky. However, you're really stupid. Since you're not dead, you should have hidden." Now that you've come here, you're really courting death. I'll fulfill your wish." The patriarch of the Wang family laughed loudly and revealed a ferocious killing intent. He released his aura and locked onto Lu Ming. He was afraid that Lu Ming would escape. "With just you. Last time in Nine Dragons City, you managed to escape with your life. This time, I won't fail." Lu Ming smiled coldly. "You're courting death." The head of the Wang family roared furiously. Last time in Nine Dragons City, Lu Ming had almost killed the Wang family's patriarch with the divine Nine-Dragon Cauldron. This matter was considered taboo by the Wang family's patriarch. Now that Lu Ming had brought it up again in front of everyone, it was a stab to the Wang family's patriarch's heart. Boom! The head of the Wang clan radiated a cold killing intent as he stepped forward. His entire body was covered in purple flames that completely annihilated the void. The temperature of the area rose rapidly. Some of the weaker cultivators were shocked and quickly retreated. "I will burn you to ashes." A cold voice came from the Wang clan head's mouth. The Wang clan head pushed his hands forward, and a large purple fireball flew towards Lu Ming. The temperature of the purple fireball was terrifyingly high. Wherever it passed, space was annihilated, revealing black spatial passageways. In an instant, it flew in front of Lu Ming. "Die!" The Wang clan head laughed sinisterly, but in the next moment his smile stiffened. Lu Ming reached out a hand and grabbed the purple fireball. The purple fireball shrank rapidly and finally turned into a wisp of flame, burning and jumping in Lu Ming's palm. "This is your flame. You want to burn me to ashes? In my opinion, it's not even enough to cook a meal." Lu Ming sneered. He then blew a puff of air, and the flame in his palm was extinguished. A slap in the face, a slap in the face. The Wang clan head's face was flushed red. He stared at Lu Ming and wanted to bite Lu Ming to death. "Die!" The head of the Wang family roared, and the flames on his body became more vigorous. A ball of purple flames appeared on top of his head. Moving his body, he performed bloodline integration and turned into flames. The flames twisted and eventually turned into a purple flaming combat sword that slashed toward Lu Ming. Boom! Lu Ming didn't even look at it and punched the purple sword. A scream was heard as the purple sword shattered. The Wang clan head's figure appeared with blood spurting out of his mouth. His face was filled with fear as he frantically retreated. As soon as the Wang clan head retreated, a series of screams were heard. The path that the Wang clan head took was the army. At least 1,000 people were killed by the Wang clan head. "Run!" The others screamed and ran as far as they could. A battle between supremes was too dangerous. If they were too close, they wouldn't even know how they died. "Today the one who will die is you." Lu Ming stared at the Wang clan head and stepped forward. "Save me, save me." The Wang clan head screamed in fear. By the side, the head of the Jiang family, the head of the Luan family, and the rest were initially stunned. Lu Ming had injured the head of the Wang family with one punch. They were really stunned and somewhat in disbelief. Now that the head of the Wang family shouted, they finally regained their senses. "Attack, kill him! Kill!" The Jiang clan head, Luan clan head, and the others roared and attacked together. 5 supremes attacked at the same time. 5 different rays of light tore through the sky and blasted toward Lu Ming. "Get lost!" Lu Ming spat out coldly and threw out 5 punches in a row. 5 rays of fist intent tore through the sky. Boom! 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 The fist intent easily shattered the attacks of the 5 supremes. The Jiang clan head, Luan clan head, and the others groaned as they were knocked back while vomiting blood. With just 5 casual punches, 5 supreme beings were heavily injured. Countless people who had retreated far away sucked in a breath of cold air. As for the Wang family head, he was scared half to death. He was dumbfounded. He thought that he was dreaming. How long had it been? Lu Ming had only taken a trip to the Godly Ruins continent. How did he become so strong after returning? Was he still a member of the younger generation? Lu Ming continued to attack the Wang clan head. The Wang clan had roared in fear and desperately retreated into the crowd. He wanted others to block Lu Ming for him. "You guys block him! Damn it, how dare you run? I'm the trusted aide of Martial Emperor De. You guys are courting death. I'll kill all of you in the future." The Wang clan had roared. However, the others were not idiots. They all ran away when they saw the Wang clan head coming over. No one blocked Lu Ming for him. Are you kidding? Injuring 5 Supremes with a single punch? Aren't they just courting death? The Wang clan had almost lost all hope. Clang! At this moment, the saber gleam exploded in the sky. A black saber gleam cut through the void and slashed toward Lu Ming. Its power was terrifying. The martial emperor had attacked. Boom! A dragon roar came from Lu Ming's body. He then threw out a punch and clashed with the saber light. The saber light was successfully blocked by Lu Ming. Whoosh! A figure appeared in front of Lu Ming. It was an old man in a black robe. He was skinny and his eye sockets were sunken. He looked like a skeleton. However, the aura emanating from his body was extremely frightening, causing one's heart to tremble. He was an emperor. The third emperor of the underworld. Chapter 1319. There were only 5 or 6 sovereigns in Nanming Kingdom, and they were all ranked. The first emperor of the underworld was the most powerful, followed by the second emperor of the underworld. The third emperor of the underworld was the most powerful. When the third emperor of the underworld attacked, the family head of the Wang family was overjoyed. He thought that he was saved. Third emperor of the underworld, His Majesty DE wants to capture this man. Quick, kill him and His Majesty will reward you handsomely. The family head of the Wang family shouted. Such combat strength at such a young age is rare. It's a pity that you don't know how to keep a low profile and come here. I'll send you on your way, hee. The third emperor of the underworld laughed. His voice was dry and unpleasant like that of a skeleton. His body was covered in a large black robe, which covered his entire body. It looked like a piece of black cloth floating in the air. Netherworld realm, turn into my netherworld chi. The third emperor of the underworld smiled hideously. A black realm spread out and shrouded Lu Ming. The speed of the realm was extremely fast. As soon as it appeared, it covered an area with a radius of 100 miles. Lu Ming was also shrouded in it. Suddenly, he felt countless black shadows pouncing on Lu Ming. Endless netherworld chi penetrated Lu Ming's skin and tried to corrode Lu Ming and turn him into netherworld chi. Clang! At the same time, a black saber appeared in the third emperor of the underworld's hand, and he slashed at Lu Ming. In his own realm, the third emperor of the underworld's speed was extremely fast. As soon as the saber slashed out, it was in front of Lu Ming. Wind origin skill. Lu Ming's heart stirred. He used the wind origin skill, and his body moved without wind. He swayed slightly and dodged the third emperor of the underworld's attack. At the same time, he threw out a punch. Clang! The fist force hit the side of the saber, and there was a loud bang. The third emperor of the underworld's body trembled, and he could not help but take 2 steps back. As for Lu Ming, he also took a few steps back with a bang. Such powerful strength. The third emperor of the underworld was shocked. Netherworld body. The third emperor of the underworld's body trembled, and his entire body collapsed, transforming into a mass of underworld chi. Combined with his underworld domain, it enveloped heaven and earth. Everything within 100 miles of the nether domain was filled with nether chi. Spirit bodies were formed from the condensation of blood vessels, and they possessed some of the characteristics of blood vessels. Different spirit bodies had different mysteries and effects. Some spirit bodies were more attack-oriented, some were more defensive-oriented, and some were more speed-oriented. For example, the spiritual body of the third emperor of the underworld could transform into underworld chi and launch attacks. Whoosh! 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 Lu Ming was shrouded in the aura of the netherworld. There were bursts of air-piercing sounds all around him. Countless saber gleams slashed toward Lu Ming from an unknown direction. Fire element technique, lightning element technique. With a thought, Lu Ming converted the chaos concept into the fire concept and thunder concept. A long spear condensed from flames appeared in Lu Ming's right hand, and a long spear condensed from lightning appeared in his left hand. Whoosh! The long spear of flames swept out in all directions with a force that could wipe out an army. Fire and lightning were the natural enemies of underworld chi. Moreover, the fire concept and thunder concept were condensed from the fire concept and thunder concept. The power of the 2 concepts was even more shocking. As the long spear of flame swept out, the dark underworld chi exploded. The saber lights that were slashing at Lu Ming collapsed one by one. Even the nether domain shook violently, as if it would explode at any time. Over there, Lu Ming's eyes were fixed in front of him. The long spear of lightning in his left hand shot out. Ah! A scream came from that place. Then the third emperor of the underworld appeared and retreated. There was a hole in his shoulder, and there were flashes of lightning flashing. How could this be? The Wang family head, the Jiang family head, and the others opened their eyes wide and looked at the scene in disbelief. The third emperor of the underworld was injured. An emperor was injured by Lu Ming. How could this be? Lu Ming could even injure an emperor. Whoosh! Lu Ming used the wind concept, and his body flashed. He quickly approached the third emperor of the underworld and threw out a punch. This punch was a combination of the earth element technique, fire element technique, and thunder element technique. The third emperor of the underworld's territory shook violently. It only lasted for a breath before it exploded. The terrifying power of the three martial skills of wills landed on the third emperor of the underworld's body. The third emperor of the underworld screamed in agony as his body flew far away. Half of his body exploded and his aura weakened. Run, run! There was only one thought in the Wang family head's mind, and that was to run. Lu Ming was too monstrous. How old was he? His combat strength was unimaginably strong. Even the third emperor of the underworld was not a match for him. After exchanging a few blows, he was almost dead. If he did not run, he would die. Wang Xingtian, I said, you will die today. Lu Ming's cold voice sounded. He used the wind concept and caught up with the Wang family head in a few flashes. No, please spare my life. Death was imminent. The Wang family head broke down and begged bitterly. He did not care about being a sovereign or his reputation. Compared to his life, these were nothing. Lu Ming looked at the Wang family head coldly. There was no pity in his eyes. Once upon a time, the Wang family head was a supreme existence in Lu Ming's eyes. He was a sovereign who could kill him with a single finger. But things had changed. Now the Wang family head was nothing in front of Lin Fan. He could easily kill him. The world was unpredictable. Who could predict it? Lu Ming was growing rapidly. Unknowingly, Lu Ming had become a top figure in the divine wilderness continent. Those who once needed to look up to him had to look up to him now. Go to hell. An indifferent voice came from Lu Ming's mouth. His palm was like a knife as it struck out. No, if I die, you will die too. The Wang family head roared. Knowing that he was going to die, a ruthless look flashed in his eyes. The aura on his body became violent. He was going to self-destruct. Lu Ming snorted coldly. His palm suddenly exerted force. A phantom of the prison-suppressing monument flashed and suppressed the Wang family head. The Wang family head did not even have the chance to scream before he was crushed into pieces and died on the spot. In front of Lu Ming, he could not even self-destruct. It's your turn. Lu Ming looked at the head of the Jiang family and the head of the Luan family. Back then, in the Battle of Nine Dragons City, the family heads of the 6 ancient families had all attacked Lu Ming. Among them, the Jiang family head, the Luan family head, and the Wang family head all wanted to kill Lu Ming. Lu Ming had always kept this grudge in his heart. Today he would kill them all. Run, run! The Jiang family head and the Luan family head desperately rushed into the sky because there were sovereigns there. But how fast was Lu Ming? He took a step and appeared behind them. He activated the prison-suppressing heaven skill and struck out twice. The 2 family heads were dead. Third Underworld Emperor. In the end, they discovered that there was only one person who had sent reinforcements, a young man. To their disbelief, they discovered that this youth was actually Lu Ming. It was rumored that Lu Ming had died in the Godly Ruins continent, and the battle prowess that Lu Ming displayed shocked them even more. What a rare talent! Beside Kong Xian, a white-haired elder sighed. This white-haired elder was one of the 2 great emperors of the World Academy. Dean, this is a rare opportunity. I feel that we should rush out and cooperate with Lu Ming to defeat the army of the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace. Sandalwood Fairy suggested. Wait a minute. The Emperor of the World Academy said. The Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace has come to attack our World Academy. They won't only send 2 emperors. Perhaps there are still emperors hiding in the dark. Now that Lu Ming has the upper hand, we shouldn't be in a hurry to take action. It won't be too late to take action after we see the situation of the enemy. Kong Xian, Sandalwood Fairy and the rest nodded. Indeed, now that Lu Ming had the upper hand, the one who should be anxious should be the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace, not them. If the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace still had emperors hiding in the dark, they wouldn't be able to hold back for long, and would take action. In the void tens of thousands of miles away in the north, Xiao Wan and the rest were hiding and looking into the distance. Even though Lu Ming had already defeated Chu Luo, they still couldn't hide their astonishment when they saw Lu Ming's combat prowess. Mo Ancestor, should we take action now and wipe out this group of people from the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace? Mo Yi asked. Wait a minute. The Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace might have experts hiding in the dark. We should act according to the situation, Xiao Wan said. Boom, boom, boom. High in the sky, 3 figures crisscrossed and engaged in an intense battle. Every time they clashed, there would be a muffled explosion. It was like the beginning of the universe, and the beginning of the universe. The terrifying shockwaves caused some people's eardrums to ring loudly. Their bodies trembled, and they vomited blood. The army of the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace retreated again and again, distancing themselves from the battlefield. Dang! Lu Ming executed the martial techniques of 5 different states. Its might was shocking. He punched out and struck the Broken Mountain Martial Monarch's battle saber. The Broken Mountain Martial Monarch's body shook violently and was sent flying. Following this, Lu Ming flipped his left hand and chopped down with his palm. The underworld chi churned, and the 3rd underworld monarch was also sent flying. Kill! Lu Ming's body was as fast as lightning. In a flash, he dashed towards the 3rd underworld monarch. Terrifying attacks continuously rained down on the 3rd underworld monarch. The 3rd underworld monarch tried his best, but he could not block them. Wherever Lu Ming's fist passed, the underworld chi was destroyed. The 3rd underworld monarch cried out in pain, and his body almost exploded. On the other side, the Broken Mountain Martial Monarch rushed over to help. Buzz! The lightning cauldron appeared above Lu Ming's head and smashed towards the Broken Mountain Martial Monarch. As Lu Ming's cultivation increased, the power of the lightning cauldron increased when he controlled it. The lightning cauldron and the Broken Mountain Martial Monarch's battle saber collided. Although the lightning cauldron was sent flying, it had blocked the Broken Mountain Martial Monarch's attack. That was enough. Kill! Lu Ming charged towards the 3rd underworld monarch and punched out. The underworld chi exploded, and the 3rd underworld monarch cried out in pain. Half of his body had exploded, and his aura was weak. His injuries had worsened. The 3rd underworld monarch's underworld body was mysterious and unpredictable. If it had been any other martial monarch, they would have been severely injured by Lu Ming's attack. Even so, the 3rd underworld monarch was terrified. He turned around and ran. He was afraid. If this continued, he would be killed by Lu Ming. You can't escape. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with killing intent. He walked towards the 3rd underworld monarch step by step. At the same time, Lu Ming's mind was highly focused, and his spiritual senses spread out in all directions. He seemed to be waiting for something. After a few steps, Lu Ming closed in on the 3rd underworld monarch. His terrifying attack was about to land on the 3rd underworld monarch. Bastard, how dare you! At that moment, a cold shout came from the sky. As soon as the voice was heard, a golden sword light descended from the sky and slashed towards Lu Ming's head. Danger! Facing the golden sword light, Lu Ming's hair stood on end. His heart trembled as he sensed that he was in mortal danger. Roar! Without hesitation, the 9 dragons' bloodline appeared. Lu Ming performed the bloodline fusion and turned into 9 dragons. Boom! Boom! The 9 dragons stepped on each of their claws. Each of their claws was a fusion of 5 different wills, and they attacked the golden sword light. An ear-piercing sound came from the sky. The golden sword light was extremely sharp, and it could cut through everything. The attacks formed by the 5 different wills were broken by the golden sword light. The 9 dragons were shocked, and they could not help but retreat. They retreated for 1,000 miles before they could stabilize themselves. In the end, 3 of the 9 dragon claws were cut off. Chapter 1321. What a powerful force! What a terrifying sword chi! Lu Ming was shocked. He had transformed into 9 dragons and performed a martial skill that combined 5 wills. Apart from the chaotic will, this was Lu Ming's strongest combat strength. However, he still could not resist the sword chi. He was pushed back 1,000 miles and 3 of his dragon claws were cut off. The power of the golden sword chi was extremely terrifying. Whoosh! High up in the sky, a golden light flashed and a figure appeared. It was an old man with thick bones and a burly figure. He wore a golden robe that fluttered in the wind, and he exuded a majestic aura. A terrifying aura radiated from the old man in the golden robe, causing the sky to tremble. Peak LV2 Martial Royal Realm. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat, and he looked extremely serious. The old man in the golden robe was at the same level as Ciel Wan and DE. He was extremely powerful. The difference between each level of the Martial Royal Realm was huge. The difference between LV2 Martial Royal Realm and LV1 Martial Royal Realm was obvious. It was not difficult for a LV2 Martial Royal Realm to kill a LV1 Martial Royal Realm cultivator, not to mention a peak LV2 Martial Royal Realm cultivator. Elder Di Hongcheng, the 3rd Emperor of the Underworld, and Martial Emperor Pashan were overjoyed when they saw the old man. His surname is Di? Lu Ming frowned. Ciel Wan had said that there were 2 peak LV2 Martial Royal Realm cultivators beside DE, and they both had royal spiritual weapons. Lu Ming had a lot of questions in his heart. A peak 2nd layer Martial Dominator Realm cultivator was not as common as cabbages. One could easily find one. In the Divine Wilderness continent, there were only Ciel Wan and DE. Where did the 2 peak LV2 Martial Royal Realm cultivators beside DE come from? Moreover, they both had royal spiritual weapons. Now he knew that one of them had the same surname as D. What was going on? Rumor had it that D Tian Divine Palace was built by Martial Emperor DE. At that time, there was only Martial Emperor DE, and no one had heard that he had a family with the same surname. Later on, Martial Emperor DE had a descendant and the D clan was born? Could this old man be DE's descendant? Impossible. Lu Ming felt that this old man was even older than DE. Lu Ming had more questions in his heart. He felt that DE was more mysterious than he had imagined. Di Hongcheng stood high up in the sky and looked down at Lu Ming. However, it was not difficult to see the astonishment and disbelief in his eyes. He seemed to be amazed by Lu Ming's age and combat strength. So you're Lu Ming. Lu Ming, it's not bad for you to have such cultivation and battle strength at your age. I think you're a talent. Why don't you join our D family? As long as you perform well, the D family won't mistreat you. Di Hongcheng asked. His tone revealed a sense of superiority, as if he was looking down on others. This wasn't Di Hongcheng's intention. It was as if he was born to be high and mighty, looking down on others. Hee. Lu Ming let out a faint laugh and stared at Di Hongcheng instead of answering. After a while, Lu Ming said, You're not from the Godly Desolation continent, right? Or are you not from the Godly Desolation continent? Lu Ming had met all the geniuses of the Godly Desolation continent, and none of them had the surname Di. Di Hongcheng was slightly startled, as if he had not expected Lu Ming to ask such a question all of a sudden. He then let out a hollow laugh and said, That's none of your business. Now, are you going to surrender or not? Surrender? Sure, but I have a condition. Give me Di's head, and I'll surrender. Lu Ming said with a calm smile. Impudent. Di Hongcheng's expression turned dark as a murderous intent burst out from his body. He said in a cold voice, Lu Ming, I was planning to give you a chance since you're quite talented, but you didn't take it. I guess I'll have to send you on your way. Di Hongcheng clenched his fist in the air, and a golden battle sword was formed. Sword chi shot up into the sky. Slash! Di Hongcheng shouted softly and slashed with his golden combat sword. A terrifying sword aura that was thousands of miles long split the sky and slashed toward Lu Ming. It was even more powerful than the previous attack. Primal Chaos. 9 dragons stepped into the air as Primal Chaos chi surrounded Di Hongcheng's body. Facing an expert like Di Hongcheng, Lu Ming no longer hid his strength and unleashed it with all his might. Suppressing Hell Art. Lu Ming executed the suppressing hell art as a dragon claw clawed at the golden sword light. The dragon claw was covered with the primal chaos intent. The primal chaos intent, combined with the suppressing hell art, could unleash its full power. Boom! The dragon claw clashed with the golden sword light. It was as if the entire world was shaking, as if it was the end of the world. Half of the sky was filled with golden sword light, while the other half was filled with primal chaos. Di Hongqing and Lu Ming's figures were pushed back by an invisible force. They could not help but retreat simultaneously. How is this possible? The Broken Mountain Martial Dominator and the Third Underworld Emperor stared with their eyes wide open. They could not believe their eyes. Lu Ming had managed to block Di Hongqing's attack. Not only that, it seemed like they were on par with each other, as they were both pushed back. This meant that Lu Ming was able to stand his ground against Di Hongqing. Lu Ming had not used his full strength when he was fighting against them. Upon having this thought, they could feel a chill down their spines. If Lu Ming had used his full strength, wouldn't they be dead meat? Gulp. Gulp. The lower part of the prison-suppressing steel's bloodline was solid, indestructible and indestructible. The prison-suppressing steel trembled and flew back. The golden sword light also collapsed in an instant. Di Hongqing was also pushed back by the counterattack. This time, Di Hongqing retreated even further than Lu Ming. This caused Di Hongqing's expression to turn extremely ugly. The prison-suppressing steel's bloodline is indeed stronger than the Nine Dragons' bloodline. Lu Ming's heart stirred. Whoosh! At this moment, Di Hongqing's body seemed to have turned into a golden sword light, breaking through the void and rapidly approaching Lu Ming. Bring it on! Lu Ming's voice resounded from the prison-suppressing steel. The prison-suppressing steel glowed and charged towards Di Hongqing. Clang! The heavens and the earth exploded as the two figures retreated, then charged at each other again. Only the two figures could be seen clashing and exchanging blows. Explosions continued to sound in the sky. The shockwaves from their exchange grew more and more terrifying, causing the spectators to retreat further and further. In the blink of an eye, the two of them had exchanged more than 10 blows. Although Lu Ming had a slight upper hand, it was only a slight upper hand. He couldn't defeat Di Hongqing for the time being. Damn it! Di Hongqing roared in his heart. He was a peak second-layer martial emperor. Yet he couldn't even defeat a young man at the spiritual god realm. He felt extremely humiliated. Go to hell, Emperor Sword! Suddenly Di Hongqing roared. A golden battle sword appeared above his head. This battle sword wasn't condensed from true origin. It was a true battle sword, a true spiritual weapon. A emperor spiritual weapon. It was an emperor spiritual weapon. As soon as the golden sword appeared, Di Hongqing held it in his hand, and an extremely terrifying sword chi slashed towards Lu Ming. An emperor spiritual weapon? What terrifying power! Lu Ming's heart couldn't help but tremble when facing this attack. An emperor spiritual weapon was the emperor of spiritual weapons. It was originally a weapon used by peak emperors, and only peak emperors could fully unleash the power of an emperor spiritual weapon. Sovereigns and even low-level emperors couldn't unleash the full power of an emperor spiritual weapon. Therefore, the higher one's cultivation was, the stronger the emperor spiritual weapon would be. The power of a second-layer martial emperor, using an emperor spiritual weapon, would naturally be stronger than a first-layer martial emperor. Lu Ming had a feeling that this sword was extremely dangerous. Power, power! Lu Ming roared in his heart. More power from the third bloodline surged into Lu Ming's body, causing Lu Ming's heart to be filled with killing intent. But at this moment he couldn't care less about it. The Broken Mountain martial monarch was almost scared to death upon seeing this. But the barbarian emperor blocked his path. Mo Yi, Yin Kuangtu and the others also attacked. Martial Emperor Pashan had nowhere to run. Lu Ming killed the third king of the underworld, and then headed towards the Broken Mountain King. The Broken Mountain martial emperor was terrified. Di Hongqing, save me! The Broken Mountain martial emperor shouted and asked Di Hongqing for help. But Di Hongqing was busy fighting with Xiao Wan, and he could only protect himself. Xiao Wan was a rank 3 martial emperor when he was at his peak. But he had been suppressed by the suppressing prison monument for 30,000 years, and his origin had been damaged. That was why he could not recover to his peak. But he had rich combat experience. Although his cultivation level was the same as Di Hongqing's, he was still stronger than Di Hongqing. Di Hongqing could only protect himself. He did not have the time to save martial monarch Pashan. How dare you go against the emperor family? All of you will die. In the end, Di Hongqing roared loudly and exchanged a blow with Xiao Wan. After that, he transformed into a ray of light and shot towards the distance. He had actually fled. Xiao Wan did not chase after him. Although his combat strength was slightly stronger than Di Hongqing's, it was not enough for him to kill Di Hongqing. No, the Broken Mountain martial monarch screamed in despair when he saw Di Hongqing running away. Lu Ming was not far away from the Broken Mountain martial monarch, and a cold murderous intent enveloped him. Don't kill me, I surrender, I surrender. The Broken Mountain martial monarch screamed. He had seen what had happened to the third emperor of the underworld. If he did not surrender, he would die. Surrender is fine, but stop resisting and let us seal your cultivation, Lu Ming said. Lu Ming did not have to kill the Broken Mountain King. After all, the Broken Mountain King was a martial royal realm expert. If he surrendered and helped them, it would be beneficial for them. The Broken Mountain martial monarch was helpless, and he could only give up resisting. He knew that even if he tried his best to resist, he would be killed. He would rather trust Lu Ming. Seal his cultivation, Lu Ming ordered. The barbaric emperor, Chu Luo and Mo Yi immediately joined forces and sealed the Broken Mountain martial monarch's cultivation. The battle had finally come to an end. The Emperor Divine Palace had suffered a crushing defeat. Almost all of the experts that they had sent had died. Only Di Hongqing had managed to escape. The third emperor of the underworld had died, and the Broken Mountain martial monarch had surrendered. They had suffered a great loss. Lu Ming, thank you. The two deans of the World Academy came to Lu Ming and cupped their fists at Lu Ming to express their gratitude. Deans, you are too kind. Brother Kong Xian and I are friends. Lu Ming will not sit back and do nothing when the World Academy is in trouble, Lu Ming said. Brother Lu, Kong Xian and Sandalwood Fairy came together and bowed at Lu Ming. They had mixed feelings. They still remembered that not long after the Battle of Providence had ended, Lu Ming had changed his name to Lu Shaoqing and had just arrived at the Central Continent. At that time, Lu Ming's combat strength was similar to theirs. His cultivation was not even as high as theirs. However, in just a few years, there had been earth-shattering changes. Lu Ming's cultivation and combat strength had far surpassed theirs. He stood at the peak of the divine region. They might not be able to catch up with Lu Ming in their lifetime. Brother Kong Fairy, how have you been? Lu Ming said with a smile. Then, he looked at the two deans of the World Academy and said, Deans, now that the world is in chaos, where do you plan to go? Sigh, we have not thought about it. The taller dean sighed. In World Academy, there were those who cultivated the martial path, and those who cultivated the inscription path. The two deans also cultivated the martial path and the inscription path respectively. The taller deans were martial arts, while the thinner deans were inscription Dao. How about this? Why don't the World Academy form an alliance with us and go to the Northern Plains together? This way, we will be stronger and have more confidence to fight against the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace, Lu Ming suggested. The two deans of the World Academy looked at each other, then cupped their fists together and said, Lu Ming, actually we have the same idea. That's good. Haha, let's not delay. We will set off for the Northern Plains now. If we are late, the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace will come for us, Lu Ming said. All right, let's set off immediately. Everyone can enter the White Jade Palace. The White Jade Palace is a secret treasure, the taller dean said. All right. Lu Ming nodded, and everyone flew into the White Jade Palace. Furthermore, some of the overlord forces in the Central Continent had also surrendered. Most importantly, there were 3 pinnacle experts in the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. They were like 3 huge mountains that pressed down on everyone's hearts. Other than the Emperor Heaven Deity Palace, the other strongest forces were the ancient Saint Dynasty's Xie family and their allies, as well as the Heaven Suppression Army and their allies. Lastly, there was the Northern Plains. The Western Desert had always stayed out of the conflict, and did not participate in it. Hence they were excluded. Among the four great forces, the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace was the strongest. However, the imperial Xie family had a legacy of 1,000,000 years. In terms of foundation, they were definitely the strongest. No one could see through them clearly, and they could not be underestimated. And now, these two formidable existences were about to join hands. How could the other factions stand a chance against them? Although the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace was strong, they did not have enough foundation. Hence they had fewer emperors. Even with DE, there were 2 pinnacle martial emperors in the southern underworld, as well as some emperors who had surrendered. There were only slightly more than 10 of them. In terms of this, the Xie family and their allies, as well as the Heaven Suppression Army and their allies, had more emperors than the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. Even in the northern plains, there were more than 10 rulers in total. Although the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace was strong, they did not have many emperors. The other forces could still contend against them. However, the alliance between the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace and the Xie family could make up for this shortcoming. At that time, they would be able to dominate the world. Regardless of whether it was the Heaven Suppression Army or the Northern Plains, they would not be able to contend against them. At the thought of this, everyone's hearts were heavy. Why would the Xie family and the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace form an alliance? Everyone could not understand. With the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace's current momentum, where would the Xie family stand when they unified the Divine Wilderness in the future? There must be some kind of deal that no one knew about. Now what should we do? Someone asked. There was silence. No one spoke. Even Xiao Wan and Lu Ming were frowning. Let's talk about our opinions. Let's discuss it. After a while Lu Ming spoke. That's right. Let's talk about it. Xiao Wan said. At that moment, everyone spoke one after another, expressing their own opinions. Someone suggested that they should take the initiative to attack. They wanted to attack one side first, and fight a decisive battle with them to destroy the alliance between the two sides. However, someone immediately objected. The Emperor Heaven Divine Palace was strong. The 3 pinnacle forces were invincible. Chapter 1325. Brother Yin, what's going on? Lu Ming glanced at Yin Kuangtu and asked with a serious tone. His eyes were glowing as he stared at Yin Kuangtu. Yin Kuangtu's expression changed. In the end, he let out a long sigh and said, Lu Ming, I didn't want to tell you for the time being, but since your combat power has reached such a level, there's no harm in telling you. The yin-yang formation of the Talisman Puppet Sect has been destroyed by Martial Emperor De. What? Yin Kuangtu's words were like thunder that echoed in Lu Ming's heart. Lu Ming had heard a series of important news as soon as he returned. Then he heard that the World Academy had been attacked. So he immediately rushed to the World Academy. He did not have time to ask about the Talisman Puppet Sect, but he did not expect such a change. In Lu Ming's mind, the Talisman Puppet Sect could still hold on for a while. Therefore Lu Ming did not ask. A few months ago, Martial Emperor De attacked. The first was the Myriad Demon Valley, which was easily destroyed. The second was the Talisman Puppet Sect. Although the yin and yang formation of the Talisman Puppet Sect was powerful, and had no problem blocking De alone, De and 2 other experts at the peak of the second LV of the Martial Emperor realm attacked together with Emperor's spiritual weapons. The yin and yang formation couldn't block them at all. At that time, Bai Shijin, Du Songjue, and Master personally controlled the yin and yang formation in order to buy time for the others to move. In the end, most people moved to the northern plains, but Master and Bai Shijin fell into De's hands. Yin Kuangtu explained in detail. Most of the disciples of the Talisman Puppet Sect, Lu Ming's parents, Hua Qi, and the others had moved to the northern plain through the teleportation formation. However, Supreme 9 Sons, Bai Shijin Du Songjue, and the others had fallen into De's hands. Commander Lu, don't worry too much. Since De did not attack at that time and spared their lives, I don't think he will kill them so soon. Someone advised Lu Ming. Indeed, sparing them instead of killing them must be useful. They should not be in danger for the time being. The others also advised. At this moment, many people's expressions changed. and a sound transmission jade talisman appeared in their hands. There must be some important news. Some of the higher-ups received the news at the same time. They scanned the jade talisman with their spiritual awareness. How could this be? Yin Kuangtu exclaimed as soon as he saw the sound transmission jade talisman. Because he was too excited, he could not suppress the Zhen Yuan in his body. A powerful aura erupted from his body, and a layer of burning flames spread out from his body, causing the temperature in the hall to rise sharply. Damn it! Damn it! Following that, the others also roared angrily. Their expressions turned ugly, including Xiao Wan and the other rulers. Chapter 1327. After the meeting ended, Lu Ming immediately went to see his parents, Lu Yintian and Li Ping. The people who had retreated from the Talisman Puppet sect were all settled in the 100-Beast tribe. Lu Yintian and Li Ping were naturally overjoyed to see Lu Ming. Li Ping could not stop her tears from flowing. When the experts of the God Gate came and announced Lu Ming's death, Lu Yintian and Li Ping naturally heard the news. It was as if they had been struck by lightning, and the two elders almost could not take it. However, they had a feeling that Lu Ming was not dead and should still be alive. Indeed, they had heard the news that Lu Ming had returned, and his cultivation had reached an unbelievable level. He could stand shoulder to shoulder with the top experts of the Divine Wilderness continent. The two of them were extremely confident and excited. When Lu Ming saw that the two elders were fine, he heaved a sigh of relief. He chatted with the two elders for half a day before leaving. In a secret room, Lu Ming's main body and second body sat opposite each other. Lu Ming's main body waved his hand, and various spiritual materials flew out. Fire Spirit Root, Royal Bloodstone, Earth Emperor Essence. They were all precious spiritual materials for refining the Nirvana Elixir. Lu Ming planned to let the second body refine the Nirvana Elixir. Lu Ming had already collected all the supplementary spiritual materials for the Nirvana Elixir. The most difficult to collect were the 7 main spiritual materials. When he was in the Divine Ruins continent, Lu Ming had already collected 6 of them. He was still lacking the last one, the star anise mysterious ice grass. However, he did not expect that when he was fighting for the pure spirit body, Lu Ming would kill the purple gold-robed elder from the sea-suppressing marshal's residence, and find the star anise mysterious ice grass in his storage ring. In this way, he had gathered all 7 main spiritual materials, and could start refining the Nirvana Elixir. Ming Lian's second body waved his hand, and a pill furnace appeared. Then, all the materials for the Nirvana Elixir flew towards the second body. Lu Ming's main body moved and appeared at the side. He sat down cross-legged, and closed his eyes to cultivate. Inscription refined the second body. His fingers danced rapidly, and endless inscriptions appeared. They wrapped around all the spiritual materials and began to refine them. A heavenly profound saint was in existence that had become a saint through the Tao of inscription. Regardless of whether it was formations, refining weapons or refining pills, they were all extremely profound. Lu Ming's second body had obtained the inheritance of the heavenly profound saint, and became a sovereign. Naturally, his refining skills were also unfathomable. Golden flames of inscription appeared, wrapping all kinds of spiritual materials, and beginning to refine. In the blink of an eye, 3 days had passed. 2 Nirvana pills flew out from the bottle toward the fatty and Yin Kuangtu respectively. As soon as the two of them smelled the medicinal fragrance emitted by the Nirvana pill, they knew that it was definitely not an ordinary pill. They quickly wrapped it in their true essence, and held it in their hands. Lu Ming, what kind of medicinal pill is this? Yin Kuangtu asked curiously. This pill is known as the Nirvana pill. After consuming it, one's bloodline will undergo Nirvana, and there is a chance that it will raise one's bloodline by 1 or even 2 levels. Lu Ming explained. What? Yin Kuangtu and Fatty were completely stunned. It could actually allow one's bloodline to undergo Nirvana and raise its level. This is too heaven-defying, isn't it? Both of their hearts began to thump wildly. Both of their bloodlines were at level 8 Divine Realm. Although it seemed very advanced, it wasn't perfect. A level 9 Divine Realm bloodline was the perfect bloodline. In the Yuan continent, The minimum requirement for recruiting disciples was to awaken a level 9 Divine Realm bloodline. The two of them naturally desired a level 9 Divine Realm bloodline. However, a bloodline was innate. Unless one awakened the heaven-defying 9 dragons bloodline like Lu Ming, it would be difficult to raise it. But now, the medicinal pills in their hands were able to strengthen their bloodline. Their breathing became heavy. Lu Ming, this medicinal pill is too precious. Yan Kuangta took a deep breath and calmed down first. He looked at Lu Ming and said, "Brother Yan, just take it. The nirvana pill will be of great use to you," Lu Ming said with a smile. All right then. Yan Kuangta wasn't a wishy-washy person. He immediately took it. Kong Jin didn't stand on ceremony either. Most importantly, the nirvana pill was too useful for them. Once their bloodline reached level 9 Divine Realm, it wouldn't be difficult for them to break through to the Emperor Realm. There were only 9 nirvana pills. Lu Ming planned to give them to Yan Kuangtu and Fatty for the time being, because their bloodline was closest to level 9 Divine Realm. Lu Ming wanted to give one to Lu Yintian. Also, Lu Ming wanted to help Li Ping cultivate martial arts. Only by cultivating martial arts could Li Ping's lifespan increase and live longer. Although Li Ping didn't have the talent for cultivation, and was old, it wouldn't be a problem with Lu Ming's current means. With the help of the nirvana pill, Li Ping could awaken her bloodline, and cultivate to martial king, or even spiritual sea in the future. There were also his 2 unnamed disciples, Zhuang Xiaoshan and Zhuang Xiaoro. Ever since he took them in as disciples, Lu Ming had not taught them well. As a master, Lu Ming could be said to be very irresponsible. Therefore, he had to leave 2 nirvana pills for them. In this way, there were only 3 nirvana pills left. Lu Ming planned to keep them for now. Following this, the 100-battle martial emperor was startled as he said, "You are Lu Ming?" These words shocked the rest of the heaven-suppressing divine army. The young man in front of him was Lu Ming? Now Lu Ming's reputation was like the sun in the sky, being able to kill a martial emperor at such a young age, and fight against a peak second-layer martial dominator realm expert. Such a genius had never appeared in the history of the divine desolate continent. Lu Ming's current combat strength was already at the pinnacle of the divine wilderness continent, an overlord of a region. How could the members of the divine army not be shocked? Junior Lu Ming greets the 100 battles martial emperor. Lu Ming brought his fists together. Dispense with the formalities, dispense with the formalities. Little brother Lu, please dispense with the formalities. The 100 battles martial emperor immediately waved his hand and said, "It's an honor to have brother Lu and brother Xie here today. Come in." Lu Ming and Xiao Wan nodded their heads, and followed the 100 battles martial emperor, and the others into the sword-shaped mountain. So many experts. As soon as they arrived at the sword-shaped mountain, they could see a mountain with a strong presence of qi and various buildings. Lu Ming could sense several powerful auras in the vast mountain. They were all experts. The heaven-suppressing divine army, and some of their allies had gathered together. Thus there were many experts. Moreover, there were many soldiers in iron armor patrolling the area. The military appearance was very strong. However, Lu Ming noticed something amiss among the soldiers. Their morale was low. That's right, their morale was low. The heaven-suppressing divine army had suffered a crushing defeat not long ago. Even a few martial emperors had fallen, resulting in a great loss. Thus their morale was low. The group arrived at a hall, and took their seats. Not long after, more people arrived at the hall. They were the upper echelons of the heaven-suppressing divine army, who were at least 9 heavens supremes. There were even 9 martial emperors present. The heaven-suppressing divine army did not have that many martial emperors, as some of the other factions had formed an alliance with the heaven-suppressing divine army. Due to the current situation of the godly desolation continent, it was reasonable for them to gather together. I did not expect Brother Lu and Brother Xie to be here today. Come, let me give you a toast. The 100 battles martial emperor raised his cup, and emptied it in a straightforward manner. Lu Ming and Xiao Wan also symbolically drank a mouthful. The 100 battles martial emperor took a sip of the wine with a smile on his face. He glanced at Lu Ming and Xiao Wan and changed the topic. If I'm not mistaken, you two are here for the sacred city in 7 days, right? That's right. Lu Ming said.